My name is Peggy Adams, and I'm the president of the League of Women Voters Flint area. With partners Flint Beat, represented by Jaquanda Johnson, and Communities First, represented by Joel Arnold, we're bringing you this forum today because we share a purpose to engage, empower, and educate Flint voters. We're happy to bring you a virtual community forum today to help you decide which candidate for the Michigan State House in your district will get your vote. Questions will be asked by Flint Beat and League of Women Voters, while Communities First Incorporated staff will ensure the forum remains on time and on schedule. All candidates who have qualified to be on the ballot were invited to participate in this event. However, some candidates choose not to participate, did not return requests for participation, or had a scheduling conflict. To follow up, be sure to check Vote 411 to check their responses to our questionnaire, which contains different questions. All participants were informed they would need to comply with certain rules, such as refrain from comments on other persons and only take the opportunity to tell voters about their own qualifications, priorities, and outlook. All candidates are asked the same questions and all have the 2 minutes to answer them. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch today and being an engaged citizen. Now I'm happy to introduce Trevor Berryhill, who is in the race for the Republican primary for the House. And now Ms. Jaquanda Johnson of Flint Beat will begin our questions.
I will start off by allowing Mr. Berryhill to give us an introduction as to who he is.
Hi, my name is Trevor Berryhill. I moved up to Flint in 2016. And prior to that, I was in the Army for 10 years. I'm medically retired now. I'm running to see some change here that we haven't seen in quite a long time, and I want to make things better for folks. I don't have a very long introduction.
Well, that's fine. Thank you for that introduction. Our first question for you, Mr. Berryhill, is what are the 3 most pressing issues facing your district? And if elected, how will you address them?
So our 3 most pressing issues right now is our economic downturn, our education, and currently our water. So with our water as bad as it is, 1,900 homes haven't had their pipes replaced. 1,400 homes haven't had their notification that their pipes are being replaced. That comes from the city administration. The contract for that is about to run up in September. With that water so bad, people can't drink their own water at home, and you can't get a grocery store on the north side to provide food up there because you can't wash the vegetables with that water. Our education is down. Our literacy rates are low. Our graduation rates are lower. And we don't have enough jobs, good paying jobs for people to live off of. People are having to have 2 or 3. The ways that I plan on fixing this, the water issue, I plan on using the office to push the administration, push the company doing the repairs to either work faster, to tell us why it's taking them over 5 years from the start when it was only supposed to be a 2-year contract. And then if they cannot upkeep their obligation, start fining them until they get the job done. Once that's done, we can start bringing in businesses like grocery stores on the north side that really need it, because having to travel out of town or 10 plus miles to get groceries is ludicrous, especially when you live in a city. But we need jobs to facilitate a lot of this. And then with our schools, I want to increase funding, and I want to open up some of the schools that have been closed, because our students can't learn when they're crammed into a classroom like sardines.
Okay, thank you. What best practices will you employ when you're making decisions on behalf of the residents of your district?
So I want to look at the impact to Flint, whether it's positive or negative, because Flint is the center of District 70. Yes, we have a little lip of Burton and a tiny tip of, say, Grand Blanc, but Flint is the heart. So my best practices are going to be Does it have a positive impact for Flint? Yes or no? If it's a yes, it gets my vote. If it is neutral, then is it a positive impact into Michigan? Yes or no? If it's yes, it gets my vote. If it is neither, then it won't get my vote at all.
Okay.
So how would you work? No, sorry about that. Sorry, Peggy, I took one of your questions on, by accident.
I think we're on 4.
Yes, we are on 4. What
Okay.
efforts, if any, would you take as an elected leader to ensure transparency and access to governance?
So recently, we all received a postcard in the mail from our current rep. I would do that far more often, and I would have community outreach events, probably every quarter, if not more often. That way people can legitimately ask face to face what is going on in Lansing, how I voted, why I voted away, and what my plans are, and keep them informed every step of the way. Also set up a website, make that easily accessible, and make sure everyone has my email, whether it be personal or my at Michigan GOP when elected. That way people know that they can reach me. People know that they're being heard.
Okay. And question 5, how would you work as a state legislator to improve public safety and blight elimination in local communities?
With our public safety, we have to, at least here in Flint, we have to bring in more revenue toward our police department. Currently, it takes up half of the city budget. It needs access to more grants to bring in more officers. We are currently running, last I spoke with Mr. Eric Mays, 87 patrolling officers on the force. With 87 patrolling officers, that breaks down to 1 for 1,000 individuals in Flint. But you have days off. And every time someone has to call the police, then that is 1,000 people without coverage. We need more police officers, and we need to give the city and our surrounding areas more funding for their police departments. As for blight, I intend to work with the land bank and get them more resources, such as equipment or budget for personnel, so they can continue on with the work that they're doing, removing houses that are unfit to live in and keeping the lots maintained until they can be sold.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm not taking your whole 2 minutes to answer questions.
That's okay.
You're fine. How would you approach ensuring that local communities receive the revenue they need from the state government to fund basic local services such as parks, recreation centers, transportation, and public safety?
So when money comes from the state, it usually hits our general funds. I want to divert that. I want it to go into specific funds. Instead of general fund for parks, I want a park fund that is easy for everyone to access on your city budget or your local budgets, so you can see where that money is going easily. For me to ensure that, it would be working with your city councils, with your county board, and having them set those funds up separate. And then to ensure they get those funds, it's making sure that they have access to the grants they need and cutting a lot of the red tape.
Okay, all set. Thank you. Now we're down to question 7. Why should voters consider electing you to this office? So you get to sum it up.
Flint now, because that's most of District 70, has been voting the same way for about 40 years. In those 40 years, we've seen things go down. We've seen jobs go away. We've seen our quality of life stifled. We've seen areas of town ignored. We've seen Flint ignored in crisis. We've seen Flint not just ignored, but at times pushed away in crisis. I'm offering a different way. We've had people come through that didn't care, or at least it seems like. We've had people that didn't push hard enough or wanted to be too polite. My goal is to show that we can be a strong community and we can be a strong presence in Lansing and make sure that we get the things that we need here in a timely manner.
Okay. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah.
Thank you.